I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Two MAGA extremist political operatives, Jacob Wohl, 24, of Los Angeles, and Jack Burkman, 56, of Arlington, Virginia, pled guilty in Ohio this week for a telecommunications fraud felony charge for arranging thousands of fraudulent and intimidating robocalls in the state of Ohio, but particularly targeted at minority neighborhoods to try to intimidate and threaten and trick the voters there not to vote by mail-in ballots, and provided false information and fraudulent information to these voters. According to the indictments, these individuals falsely warned people that if they voted by mail, that their information could be used by law enforcement collection agencies and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for the purposes of pursuing old warrants, collecting outstanding debts, and tracking people for mandatory vaccines. Of course, all of this is false, and approximately 67,000 robocalls were made by Wohl and Burkman with these fabricated and threatening messages to voters. It was specifically targeted at East Cleveland and Cleveland. And these individuals did not only engage in the conduct here, they also engaged in the conduct in other states. And so, for example, in Michigan, the Attorney General of Michigan, Dana Nessel, is also prosecuting these individuals, Wohl and Burkman, for similar charges. Now, here in Ohio, the individuals Wohl and Burkman face up to 1 year in prison and a $2,500 fine. They are set to be sentenced on November 29th of this year. But if you're saying, well, that fine of $2,500 is not that much and they deserve to be fined more, well, in addition to them being prosecuted out of Cuyahoga County, Ohio, where they just pled guilty in a Cleveland courthouse, in addition to them being prosecuted for similar charges in Michigan by Attorney General Dana Nessel, who said that these calls were part of a broad effort to intimidate non-white voters from casting mail-in ballots. Well, there was also a Federal Communications Commission action last year, which proposed a fine of just over $5 million for Jacob Wohl and Burkman over there. In connection with the sentencing that took place, you had the deputy prosecutor, James Gutierrez, the assistant Cuyahoga County prosecutor, said in an interview, quote, "We made convicted felons out of them. Our goal was to make them accountable, and we did." And so Jacob Wohl and Burkman, who were known for all of these stunts and these schemes and trying to set Democratic candidates up. I mean, these people like literally fabricated stuff about Pete Buttigieg. They fabricated stuff about Mueller, just completely fabricated, fraudulent stuff that they made up. Finally, justice is being served. Would I have liked them to have to plead to a stiffer sentence of more than 1 year here in Ohio? Absolutely, but they're going to be serving jail time. They are now convicted felons. They are facing charges as well in Michigan, where they could serve a longer jail sentence. But this conduct at issue is part of a nefarious pattern by MAGA extremists to undermine free and fair elections. You know, the term election integrity, which is often used by MAGA Republicans in a very Orwellian projection style way. These are the individuals, these is the group, these MAGA Republicans who try to undermine election integrity at all times. Election integrity means everybody who should vote, who can vote, should vote, period. And yet you have MAGA extremists doing stuff like this, these fake robocalls, these fabricated robocalls, these racist robocalls threatening, individuals in minority communities, targeting them with this false information. I mean, how despicable is that? You got the voter intimidation of these terrorist militia MAGA members who wait by these ballot boxes. You've got the MAGA extremists who have been the ones who have been tampering with voting machines to try to further go on with their ridiculous conspiracies. Like we're seeing what happened in Georgia where they like tampered with and touched these voting machines. They send in these ridiculous groups like cyber ninjas to do these fraudulent audits, and because they don't have a chain of custody and follow basic legal protocols of how to handle voting machines, they literally bring the voting machines, these MAGA Republicans, into like hidden compounds in Montana where no one knows what they're doing with it, and then these counties have to order and spend millions of dollars to buy new voting machines because they're tampered with by these MAGA Republican extremist conspiracy theorists. But this is good news to report. I mean, Jacob Wohl, Jack Burkman have been involved in very, very, very bad conduct. They are bad actors. They have consistently spread lies. They've defamed people. They fabricate things about people, and they engage in conduct just like this, where they sent these fabricated robocalls. And I'm glad that they are now going to be, and they are, convicted felons. We'll keep you updated with what takes place during the sentencing on November 29th. And we'll keep you updated there. But horrific and despicable conduct. I'm glad that there was justice served here. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers. Hit subscribe right now. In addition to subscribing, go check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. A number of exclusive membership packages there. You could join with behind-the-scenes content, but most importantly, help grow this independent media platform. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.